The Shin Show. Today's guest, Director Jayil Park.
Describe each member
Okay.
in one word.
In one word.
Okay.
All right. This is
Okay. Let me just call out your name so we can just go. Okay.
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 I
Let's
could do
start
this.
with Mark.
Pure-hearted.
Okay. I'm gonna give you time later to
Pure-hearted.
explain.
There's a hyphen, so it's one
Yeah,
word.
Okay. No, I'm just saying I'm gonna give you time later to explain a bit more.
Okay.
If you want to.
Okay.
Okay. Haechan.
Genius.
Okay.
People are gonna be surprised because I had the personal
Yeah.
stuff. I was surprised too. Mark, pure-hearted. Haechan, genius.
Okay. Second is Utah.
Well, I was gonna say honest, but since I already said that, coolest.
Okay.
Coolest.
I agree with that. Tae.
One word. That's like that's like a person that needs the most words, but in English I would say alien.
Alien. Okay.
Alien.
All right. Cheon.
Misunderstood.
Okay.
You like that one, right?
Yeah.
Misunderstood.
Toyao.
Kind.
Yeah.
Yeah. Kind.
I already had that in my mind too. I was like,
Oh
yeah.
man.
Chong.
Sweetheart.
Okay.
Sweetheart.
Johnny.
Funny.
Okay.
Okay, actually, take out the bleep that out. It's gonna automatically be bleep. So, funny. Yeah.
Okay. Funny. Okay.
Hilarious. So let's say hilarious.
Okay.
Yeah.
Hilarious. And lastly, Tail.
Charisma.
Charisma.
Yeah.
I mean, I think he really is. He the role for the leader in this group. It really is Tail. I really think so.
No. You know what? Not charisma. I'll say. Can I use two words for Taeyong?
What is it?
It's like a Peter Pan.
Peter Pan.
Yeah, Peter Pan. Do you think you're Peter Pan?
Shut the
Oh, sorry. Are we not allowed to cuss? Can we say?
Okay.
Are we allowed to say?
I don't know.
Actually. By the way, I've been saying duck the whole time. They were just bleeping it out. I've been saying duck. Yeah, go ahead.
Okay.
The Shin Show.
Right. Is there anything that you want to elaborate on for those?
Yeah. I have so much to say. Like,
Yeah.
You want to start with Mark?
Yeah. Let's go with that.
Mark being pure-hearted, like what we said earlier, like his public image and his private image, there's very little discrepancy. Like, I mean, like even like the chess scene that we put, right? The chess scene, like where, like when you're young, you soil yourself, like, I mean, I've peed in bed when I was young. He was worried, he was embarrassed, like, oh, can we put that in the documentary? Like, isn't that embarrassing? Like, he's such a pure-hearted, I mean, I could have said kind for Mark as well, but yeah, hardworking as hell too. Like, I mean, there was one part where we were running out of time and he had to leave for another shoot, and I asked Mark, like, please, can you like convince the managers to give us a couple more hours? And Mark was like, yeah, like, yeah, let's do that. Like, so it wasn't like, I mean, people think like, these are idols, like false gods or like on a pedestal, but like Mark was like, I it's such a cliche term, down to earth.
Yeah.
But if down to earth, like, I mean, if one of the members you want to say down to earth, it'll be Mark.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. And Haechan, genius. This is the reason why I call him genius. Like anything you do with Haechan, you're just like, he just gets it.
Yeah. He understands the assignment.
He understands the assignment, like, but also like talented actor. Like, I would explain the scene, like this got cut, like where it's hot, like where the kid opens the door and he's supposed to look at him like, I know who you are. And it's like it's like a very difficult scene to act.
Yeah, exactly. With no dialogue, that's very difficult.
Exactly. Also, dialogue recording, never a second take. So we were worried, like we're doing Haechan, like where he's doing the narration for his story. And most of the time with any actor, you can even have the highest caliber actor and you'll take multiple takes. We were worried with Haechan because we didn't need another take. So in the middle of it, I got lost as director. It's like, do I have to do another take? So we started doing second takes just because we were worried about us being wrong. And then we later on when we heard, it's like, no, all the first takes. So Haechan also, there's one part where we included footage where we ask him like, do you want to be an adult? And then Mark says, no, I want to stay young. And then Haechan says, I want to stay at 20. We had to re-record that because there was this music that we weren't allowed to use, and also that was burned into the footage. So we had them pretend. This is so funny because like the whole theme of the first episode is about them as children. They had to make their voices 10 years younger. And I remember doing the additional dialogue recording of Haechan, and we played his voice from the footage. And Haechan, what he does is like, ha, ha. He gets the pitch of his voice from that footage. And then he's just like, okay, roll it. And then we rolled it. And then he syncs it, the timing perfectly to when his younger self says it. And it's the same voice. And what's astounding is usually the lip syncing is supposed to be off. Later, when we were doing a sound edit, we just left it alone. There's no need to like even shift this.
Yeah.
So that's why the head writer was just like, it's been a while since we've met a genius. So like, I don't use the word lightly genius because I mean, I work in the entertainment industry and you meet a lot of talented people. But some people, I think why the word genius is like where, you know, this person is just born destined to do something, you know? And even if he was unlucky and he didn't join SM, or he was just destined, anywhere he goes, he would have been a successful entertainer, I think.
Yeah.
Utah, coolest because you were there. The reason why he's coolest is because he's just so honest. And he's not like rude honest. He's like, you know, when you're that honest and you're not rude or offensive, it just means you're a good person, you know? During the interview of his sister, Utah's mom on the side was crying, you know, thinking about the past. And Utah was always a hard worker, but at the same time, I think it's sort of like is the soccer team. If he's not able to be himself, then there's no point in it. And I think that's so cool about him. And so even in the interviews, he was always himself. So for me, I think the coolest member of NCT 127 personally is Utah. And Tae, the reason why he's an alien is just because he's singing all these high notes and he's doing several takes. And afterwards, he'll get out of the taxi and comes over to me. Hey, director, like, do you have any interesting stories about your past?
Yeah.
I
remember that. I remember that.
He randomly comes like, and he was just sincerely interested in it. And then after he just just walks off over to me. He's like, he has this Tae's face like curiosity. He's like, hey, do you have more stories? And then he'll start singing again. But he's so like, he has that like an alien coming to Earth and the curiosity of an alien. And he was sincerely interested. It wasn't like he's trying to make small talk.
Yeah, exactly.
And then there's Chaeyoung. Misunderstood is because there's weird rumors, but that is him. There's no like different intention. He's just trying to be himself. And when you're yourself, sometimes there's misunderstandings. But I think what he said in the documentary is perfect. He says, you know, if you're truthful enough, you know, people will see it. You know, people will see it in the end, you know. Oh, I want to ask one more thing about Chaeyoung is I was so excited to see like a viral photo of him where he had no makeup on. Like imagine being a K-pop idol and you have no stage makeup and a photo of him that he took of himself, a selfie, recently went viral. And I was like, that's Chaeyoung. He's trying to just show him the way he is. The public image and the private image is, he's trying to reconcile those two, you know. And then there's Chung. Oh, Chung, you know, Chung is a sweetheart, and I think fans already know that. And I spent the most time with his mom and his sister, and we're talking about it, and we cried together, you know. And when I talk to you about the Notre Dame de Paris, like edit that into here. Yeah,
I think you can see the sweetness of Chung, like even in the letter as a kid, you know, about, you know, like that letter is
Oh man,
let's move on because that's very emotional, isn't it?
And by the way, I want to say like Chung had 27 people that he was making like entertaining, and again
in the circus,
circus thing. And I know, like I said, director's cut in 10 years, but like he was hilarious, and like I wish I could include more 10 years later. But yeah, let's move on before I get into too much trouble.
The Shin Show.
And then there's Doyoung. The Doyoung part, like, I think he revealed in Bubble exactly what he said in the documentary. Like, he's a kind person. Everyone knows this. So it's, I mean, but the part that got cut in the documentary was he shared on Bubble. Like, the reason why he shared that story, it wasn't even convincing that was necessary. We just, we're talking to him in a text where it's like, we thought that story could help a lot of people, you know? And that was enough. We didn't even have to convince him. It was just like Doyoung thought, hey, if even one fan hears this story and gets strength, you know, and knows that they're not alone, then there is merit in sharing this story with the audience. And that's the type of person he is.
Now we got Johnny.
The part that got cut, there's an outtake that I really wanted to include in the documentary. By the way, don't make me sound like I'm complaining too much in the thing, because I am complaining a lot. But this you gotta include. There's an outtake of Johnny, and there's several outtakes of Johnny and Taeyong. Taeyong's playing Doyoung, and Johnny's playing himself, and they're lip syncing Johnny's interview, and every time Johnny would be like looking at like Taeyong, like, and Taeyong, he's a consummate professional, but Taeyong kept on bursting into laughter because Johnny was hilarious. He's like perfectly in sync with his narration, and then Taeyong would be like, "Stop it!"
Yeah,
like he's like, I'm so sorry, director, I'm so sorry, blah blah blah," and he would be like, "Stop making me laugh," and John's like, "I'm not trying to make you laugh, Taeyong," and he was right. So the thing is, like, there's so many funny outtakes, like, and then the last take, the take that made it into it, it's not Taeyong actually being like Doyoung, being like, you know, being upset that Johnny's about to quit. It's actually Taeyong having a really hard time trying not to laugh. He's trying to, it's so painful, him trying to not to laugh. So you see him doing this, like, I can't laugh. Taeyong says, right before the take, told Johnny, he's like, "I'm not looking at your face. I'm going to look at your chest."
I think it's funny because he hides it in this, like, the image of like almost like seriousness.
Yeah.
But because of that, it's funnier.
Exactly. So he's like, what are we talking about? I'm not trying to make you laugh. Utah says he's like the sunflower.
Yeah.
Compares Johnny to a sunflower, and it's true, because like when everyone's like having a difficult time, Johnny will say something hilarious, and everyone would get reinvigorated, re-energized, and you know, and I think that's the role that Johnny plays, and so that his humor isn't just for humor's sake. It is a vital role.
Yeah.
He plays a vital role in the group, and you know. And then there's Taeyong, the bearer of the cross, and I say charisma, but I changed to Peter Pan. He's Peter Pan because, I mean, you know, he was the first person in Neverland, you know. So, you know, he talks about how difficult his childhood was. Through a hard work and perseverance, you know, he was able to overcome his demons and be where he is today. And also the story arc ends with him, you know, learning how to love at the end. So I think Peter Pan is appropriate. Yeah. Okay. And also his object, the love letter with a cross, is like the main symbol of the Lost Boys, you know, how, and also, you know, the link where they cross paths with the green, you know, and also 1 to 7, you know, like longitude, latitude. Coincidentally, his emotionally painful memory being this love letter with a cross, like the link tour thing, you know, it just everything just comes together so perfectly with Taeyong's story. So because it came together so well, like Haechan talked about, you know, like being a child, and, you know, being stuck at 20, and then there's Taeyong, you know, talking about actually that all adults are actually children, and it's like the leader of the group, and then there's the youngest member, like in the first episode and last episode, it's almost coming together. And
I think we knew that Taeyong's gonna be on the last episode because of the story he told. It just had to be.
The Shin Show.
The member stories. Did you personally relate to any of them by virtue of shared experiences?
That's every project is personal, right? For any artist, right? Actually, that was what was surprising to me because like I related so much to so many members. Like for instance, Mark moving all his life. I had this. I was similar. Like I moved from Korea as a child when I was like 4 or 5 years old to New York City, just like him. And then I moved there from to Virginia. Moved back to Korea for middle school, then moved back to Virginia. Like I was moving a lot, so I really related to Mark in that regard. Jayil I related to so much because Jayil had the same thing, which is he went when he was 5 years old to Connecticut. I had moved to Virginia, which is like sort of similar to Connecticut. It's like all nature, and me too. Like when he talks about nature, he has a fondness for nature. I have the same thing. That's why one of my favorite colors is green because I remember going to Virginia for the first time and seeing all this nature. And similar to them, I had that experience where I was 4 or 5 and I went to kindergarten and I couldn't speak the language. And but just like him, like a couple of weeks later, I was okay. And so I related so much to that. And then returning to Korea for middle school, just like Jaeon, but he went for elementary school. Yeah, so I related to that, you know. And also with Toyoung, I mean, I've had my own experience. I think one thing, there's a stigma towards being a victim of bullying, but I think most people have experience with bullying. You know what I mean?
Yeah, me
and
too.
that's why Toyoung shared it. But I had the same exact same experience as Toyoung in middle school. What happened was I was very popular, and the thing happens when you're popular is like there's a flip later, and that had happened to another person when I know in high school in America. But in middle school, some weird rumor spread about me, and then it's not like a bullying where they're like hurting you or beating you up. It's like it's worse. It's a silence where they're treating you like you don't exist, and that's what I related so much with Toyoung. And in middle school, I had a similar experience where I was just not existing, and they were just talking. You know what I mean? So I related to the pain of that, and yeah. So for me, in the question, it said universality. Yeah, like I mean, I think a lot of fans. I remember like Hechan's story. I remember seeing a TikTok video of this Indonesian fan crying while watching it because she had the exact same experience of being raised by the grandmother. And evidently, I had the same experience too. Like my parents were away, and even to this day, my grandmother passed away. And the person I loved the most in my life was my grandmother. Like she raised me. Like you know, these stories are universal, and I think it's great that you know these members shared their human side to remind people that you know all these stories are not like unique to them. You know, a lot of fans and audiences would relate. You know. Yeah.
Mm. So, do you want to say anything? Just one more last thing to the fans.
I guess which camera?
We can watch.
Or is that one? Yeah. Thank you so much for enjoying the series. Thank you so much to the fans, especially the fan clubs like 127 Central and NCT 127 Project and NeoCityV. We really didn't have to. We really didn't have to do this. Actually, this is we're doing it because we care about the fans, and we were so thankful that the fan clubs really cared about giving more exposure to the Lost Boys. So yeah, thank you to the fan clubs and thank you to the fans, and the reception made it all worth it.
The Shin Show.